Welcome back. This is the news review segment.
Yes. Hi. Good morning.
Good morning, I know you.
You are Bridget Dzogbenuku and I'm Nana Oyebanpo Adjo.
Yes.
Yes, we're happy to be here this morning. Where's your bell?
Which bell?
Well, let's go back 40 years. And good morning. Happy International Women's Day. I'm really excited to be here with Bridget. Bridget was in charge of Wesley Girls High School.
Oh, wow.
Several years ago. She would ring the bell to wake us up. She would ring the bell for lectures, and she would also ring the bell for lunch, which was my most favorite time of the day.
Yes.
That is
once you were the dining
PM.
hall prefect.
Yes. And she would ring the bell for Grace.
Yes.
In the dining hall. So, well, welcome. What are we starting with, Bridget?
I'd like to start with the Statesman, the Daily Statesman, and the big headline is Akufo-Addo addresses the nation today on economy, security, high on agenda.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, until I walked into the studios, I hadn't heard that it was
surprised.
Yes,
Yeah.
well, that we're going to listen to the president deliver the State of the Nation address. They're talking about security and the economy. Yes, it's obvious. What are your thoughts?
Well, there's nothing new. We all know what the state of the nation is. I don't know what he's coming to say, if he's coming to try and reassure us, or coming to list the things and probably give us reasons why it's the way it is. Most likely to say it's not our fault. But economy, yes. I mean, we know it. Inflation is 55%. The economy is about 55. The inflation is about 55%. Our debt to GDP is now over 100%, I'm sure. So, and security, we all know what's happening up in the north in Boku. We know what's happening in, what's just happened in Ashaman, which is a security risk as well. So, I hope that he's not only going to state what's give us the state of the nation and not give excuses or reasons why it's a so, but actually tell us how these things are going to be addressed. I think that there are other issues. Our children and our youth are affected. Education is in disarray. Our infants don't have vaccines, which is, I think, the most serious of cases. Is that, I mean, this is our next generation at risk. And these issues really must be addressed, and not there shouldn't be any passing of the buck here.
Yeah. I mean, Bridget, it's very true. I mean, the state, what is the state of our nation? We are at one of our lowest points in our 66-year history as a nation. It is significant that we commemorated our 66th year after independence on Monday, and it's a dire situation in Ghana presently, especially in terms of our economy and the harsh conditions in terms of unemployment. And then, like you have said, from cradle to grave, we have issues. No vaccines. You go to the SHS or JHS, we have issues with the free SHS program, where even schools are not able to feed their students. And it goes on and on throughout the stages. And I've mentioned youth and youth unemployment. So it is a dire situation. I'm hoping the president will take responsibility, give us the true picture of the state of the nation, and have solutions for the various challenges that we are facing as a nation. So we are waiting for him to speak the truth in terms of the reality on the ground in Ghana presently, and then also to offer recommendations and solutions to these huge problems.
Well, we are hoping for a lot, and I hope
Yes.
that we are not disappointed.
I hope not.
Also on the statesman is GRA exceeds revenue targets by 6.5 billion over a 3-year period. I bought a bottle of water in Melcombe, and when I looked at the taxes that were applied to it, it makes sense that they would exceed that, the 6.5 billion. Intim urges CEOs to support NPP's 2024 campaign. That's the
Yes.
Daily State.
Yes, I'll go to the Finder. The headline for the Finder: marauding soldiers unleash mayhem and brutalize residents of Ashaman over the killing of a soldier. The story is on page 2, and it talks about some marauding soldiers yesterday unleashing mayhem on residents of Ashaman in the Greater Accra region and brutalizing residents in the area. They invaded places such as Taifa, Newtown, Official Town, Valco Flats, and some parts of Middle East, all in the Ashaman municipality. There were 2 military helicopters who provided air support and armored tanks, and they invaded the community with military vehicles, including armored tanks and 2 helicopters, and they were there to avenge the death of their colleague, Imoro Sharif, who was allegedly killed by thugs in the area. This is from the 3rd Battalion of Infantry. This is despicable.
Yes.
To say this is despicable.
I think the Times also picks up the same. The main headline on the front of the Ghanaian Times.
Yes.
Says military swoops on Ashaiman, beats arrest over 72 residents for questioning.
You see, Bridget, the problem is that our constitution is very, very clear about the duties and responsibilities of the military. The military have no business. They are abusing their powers.
Yes.
What they did yesterday was a clear abuse of power. And I was just before we stepped on, I was reading a statement from the military high command, and I think I'll just and this is a statement issued by the Department of Public Relations, General Headquarters, Burma Camp, Accra. That is signed by E. Agriquashi, Brigadier General, who is the Director General of Public Relations, that the personnel of the armed forces on Tuesday, 7th of March, conducted a swoop in Ashaman and its environs in a manhunt for some criminals who are suspected to have stabbed and killed a young soldier. The Ghana Armed Forces wishes to state categorically that the military operation was sanctioned by the military high command and was not to avenge the killing of the soldier, but official the perpetrators of this heinous crime. Brigadier General E. Agriquashi and the Ghana Armed Forces, we state that you do not have the power to conduct a military operation sanctioned by the military high command in Ashaman. We regret that a young soldier has been killed. We do regret that Trooper Sharif has been killed. But we have and exercise the rule of law in Ghana. And this should have been done by the police. You have violated the rights of the residents of Ashaman by this inhuman acts, rolling in the mud. This is torture. So Ghana Armed Forces have actually tortured the 72 and other residents of Ashaman. And all those who issued this command, all those who conducted this command should face the full rigors of the law. And I'm hoping that Parliament takes this up and questions the Ghana Armed Forces. This is totally wrong. I mean, and it is significant here again that after 66 years of independence, we should have the soldiers behaving in this manner. And the Ghana Armed Forces has the impunity to actually issue a statement and say that this was sanctioned, this illegal, unlawful act of torturing of innocent residents of Ashaman was actually sanctioned by the military high command. It is totally unacceptable, and we condemn this with all our strength.
Yes, I agree with you. The torturing of innocent people was completely out of order, regardless of the fact that, yes, we sympathize with the family and all the friends and relations of the officer who was stabbed and killed. But if it's a manhunt for criminals, I think that the police, we're going according to our constitution and our laws, the police should have been involved and not using brute military force. This statement actually does not put the military in good light. It actually puts them in very bad light, and they might, as they say, they must come again. It doesn't explain away the brutalities that they meted out to the people of Ashaman yesterday. We will now be joined by Joyce Lanyon, who is Country Director of International Child Development Program. She's joining us via Zoom for this segment for the newspaper review, so that she can also talk to us about International Women's Day and about SONA, the State of the Nation's address.
Is she on?
We don't have her yet. We will. Hello, Joyce. Good morning. You need to unmute your sound, please. We will go back to Joyce when we have her.
And Bridget, you see, even in the third paragraph of the Ghana Armed Forces statement, they say the swoop was not targeted at innocent civilians, but it was an intelligence-led operation. I'm wondering which part of this operation was intelligence-led, that you still use the old tactics of stripping innocent civilians, letting them roll on the mud and what have you. And these are acts of torture and very, very inhumane to actually do that. And that is why the police are specially trained, and they have those skills in terms of being able to use their investigative powers to fish out criminals.
And I wonder how torturing of so many people would be able to bring out one person who had stabbed or killed the soldier. It was quite unfair. If you look at the news item that the doctor read and the videos that came out, some people were indeed very innocent. They didn't know what was going on. All they saw was that their streets had been invaded by soldiers. And that's a lot of intimidation, and it's criminal by itself, the way they went about it. And I think that Ghana Armed Forces, as I know them, ought to clean up this image that they've created. It's completely out of order.
I mean, this Brigadier General Agriquashi should immediately withdraw the statement, this press release. It is totally, it's totally out of order to think that such a press release would come from the military high command, from Brigadier General Agriquashi, Director General Director General Public Relations. It's totally out of order. The Ghana Armed Forces is out of order in terms of the swoop it conducted yesterday at Ashaman. I'm happy the Member of Parliament, Ernest Norgbe, has spoken to it, and he should lead the process to ensure that the people of Ashaman get justice, and never again should Ashaman be subjected to such cruelty, such violation of human rights, inhumanity, and torture by a public institution who receives revenue from the citizens of Ashaman.
Ashaman and or anywhere else in Ghana.
We will not accept this.
Okay.
And the Commission on Human Rights should take the Ghana Armed Forces up. And I'm hoping the President, in a State of Nation address, will also condemn the Ghana Armed Forces. Bridget, there's also a statement by the Minister of Health on vaccines. It's actually also on the Finder, page 4 of the Finder.
And it's on the Ghanaian Times as well. But it says government to take delivery of measles vaccines soon. When is soon? As a friend of mine used to say, we were told that Jesus is coming soon. Tell us, and it's been many years. You're telling us that to take delivery soon. How soon is soon? See, we haven't put a lot of, we haven't put priority on this situation where there are no vaccines for our children. I put myself in the shoes of those women who have infants, and I'm wondering how the amount of unease they sit with, not knowing when their children are going to get vaccinated. And there has been a measles outbreak up in the north. So when is soon? You can't just, it's not reassuring enough to say government will take delivery of measles vaccines soon. And indeed, if it's measles, what about all the other killer diseases and all the vaccines that are not available? So it's shameful and a real failure that government has actually sat and allowed the country to run out of these vaccines, and now you're saying we will take delivery soon. When is soon? And mothers are going around looking from one clinic to another, one health center to another, just trying to get their children vaccinated. And it's almost as if nobody cares.
No, they don't care. The government does not care. Because if the government of Ghana cared, the amount of money they spent on Independence Day commemoration, they would have spent to get vaccines for our children. And it's clear a government failure. There's a clear government failure, because I know that these vaccines, they must have known that there was a shortage. And so to what extent did they prioritize delivery of these vaccines, or even allocating the resources for these vaccines? Number one, they have not even rolled out a plan. So do we even have a little bit? I mean, are there some hotspots? So if you really are in urgent need, are there some hotspots, maybe in the endemic areas, like you say, the measles has broken up, maybe in the north and all that? So what is the actual situation? And are there some priority areas where you can still go to and get the vaccines? No information, but rather the Minister of Health is rather attributing it to a steady global decline in measles vaccination.
It's never our fault.
And so what?
It's never our responsibility.
Minister of Health, there's a decline in global measles vaccination, and so what? What has it got to do with your duty as a Minister of Health to ensure that we have vaccines for children to be vaccinated?
I put on my social media, on Facebook, that this is an issue that the health minister should resign over.
Yes.
Because these are our children. This is our next generation. And it's almost as if it's secondary to many other things. And yet, I mean, this is basic. So for him to, I think they are being rather lax about it. We started hearing of a shortage of these vaccines over 2 weeks ago. Yeah. And if today you are still telling us we will receive the vaccines soon,
in the next few weeks, you can't even give us, a date or time, and you're saying that we haven't recorded. I've never, ever, ever heard of this.
No.
Never.
No. We've retrogressed in many, many ways.
A lot.
I was recounting to my sister, for example, how the schools they would come to the schools to vaccinate us.
Yes.
Periodically. And there was enough for everybody. Indeed, the population of Ghana was not this much, but you are in government for a reason, to be responsible. And this is grave. We don't seem to see, I mean, those of us who don't have infants may not be able to relate to it that, oh, it's a serious situation. But it is grave. And the repercussions of it are going to show in a few years.
Yes, yes. It's very, very sad that this is what is happening. And like you said, the health minister ought to resign. I mean, if you can't ensure vaccines for infants and you're not even aware, I mean, like from last year, you should have known stocks were falling. Just resign. He also messed up with COVID. He didn't resign. This one, we have to make sure that he resigns. He is not fit to be a minister of health.
So there's also on the Times a sad story of 2 children drowning after the torrential rains at Botsiano. We hear these stories year after year, and it doesn't seem, I mean, the rains have just started, and God help us with the flooding and all that. Daily Graphic, well, it's also about the government moving to deliver, and it's always in the future. Government moves to deliver vaccines. We'll see when that happens. And the soldiers' reaction to dead colleague abusive, Ashaman residents say. Let's help to resolve the impacts of the global crisis. And International Women's Day, of course, and that's why we are here.
Yes.
Female experts advise women and girls to embrace digital technology. As I say to my young girls on my mentoring program, your phone is not simply to do WhatsApp and watch videos.
Oh, is it?
But there are so many other uses to it, and it's a convenience, actually, if you embrace the technology and use it for all the things that it would be useful. In my mentoring program, for example, there were many young women entrepreneurs. They are in school, but they are in little businesses here and there. Very impressive. And this is where you must embrace digital technology. I mean, if it wasn't for e-levy, but that's another story altogether. You can, you know, send money, receive money, and conduct so much business just by using your phone. Have an app that keeps accounts and all things like that. So yes, it makes our lives easier as women if we embrace digital technology.
It's a huge challenge.
Well, we have to learn.
50.
It's a huge challenge. I think, first of all, you must be accepting of it. You must say, you know what, I need this tool. Yes. And when you accept it, it's actually quite easy.
Yes. And Bridget, you know, we're discussing just before we stepped in about women taking over.
Yes.
I mean, like, they were going on about the fact that, yes, it's a Wesley Girls morning. Yes. You know, Doc is Wesley Girls. We are both Wesley Girls. And I think we should discuss that, women taking over Ghana. Indeed. And we need women in leadership. I mean, it's very important.
If I start to go on about why we need women in leadership, it's not going to end. But let's take it away from giving power to women and look at it from the angle of letting women lead. Because when you take it from the angle of giving power to women, the men panic. And there's a UN thing I saw, UN women thing I saw, which said, giving power to women does not take it from men. It's not a pie. You know, it's not like a cake or a pie where because you've taken this out and given to women, then it's deficient or it's not enough for men. It actually makes economic and developmental sense to have women in leadership right now. I mean, I doubt, for example, that we would be here with the issue of vaccines if it was a woman health minister.
Yes.
I am sure that a woman, these are fundamentals, and we like to take care of the fundamentals. I like to quote my favorite singer or artist, Kofi Kinata. He has a song, this song, Ye Change Level. He has a song that says, Nde charcoal seller no ba also ash white. And it's a compliment to his mother and to women that with her charcoal selling, she empowered him. She brought him up. She has made him what he is today. And so for every charcoal seller, every roasted plantain seller, they are leaders in their own right. And we must take up those spaces, the leadership spaces. There's a lot of deficiency in our leadership right now. There's a lot of deficiency in our governance. And we know it, we feel it, and we have solutions to it. Women in their homes right now, I dare say that 70% of homes are run by women right now, if not more. And it's just that we have not put value or worth on that leadership role we play. And if we do, we will be amazed how much we can do to change our communities, our families, our communities, and our country. So it's time for us women on this International Women's Day. I'm calling on all of us women to take up those leadership spaces wherever you find yourself, in school, in your workplace, in your family, in your community. Say something, speak up, step up, and let's do it.
Yes, let women lead. Let women lead to change the fortunes of Ghana. It's very important. We offer hope. Women are better, much better managers. Let women lead.
And like we say, it's to the benefit of men and women for women to be in leadership. We are not coming to grab. You see, we are not competitive to grab away from anybody. We are there to complement in leadership.
And draw everybody round to the table. So
I think Joyce, is Joyce with us now? Country Director, International. Hello, Joyce. Please. Good morning.
Hello.
And welcome to Business Daily.
Good morning.
Hi.
Thank you very much. And I'm wishing all of you in the studio, especially the women and all women out there, and happy International Women's Day.
Same to you. Happy International Women's Day to you too. Like I said, welcome to the AM show on JoyNews. You've been listening to us with the headlines we have. Which one captured you? The vaccines, the soldiers in Ashaman, International Women's Day, State of the Nation. Let's hear what you have to say on any of them.
Thank you very much, and it's my pleasure to join you. Indeed, if I look at the issues you were discussing, they are all of high importance to us as women. First of all, let's look at the issue around vaccine. This vaccine issue that we are talking about this morning came up almost 2 weeks to 3 weeks ago. And you know, if you do not take these childhood, they used to be called killer diseases. If you do not take them, you stand the risk of losing your life in terms of the babies, or you become disabled. You will suffer disability very soon as the child grows up. For example, issues around the measles outbreak in the north. I can't imagine how the mothers will be feeling. And so, like you said, it's unacceptable to think that the minister is telling us that these vaccines will come very soon. Did they even plan for it? And you know, just opposing the issue about the vaccine with COVID-19 vaccine, I think I heard it yesterday. It's rather unfortunate. So I would say that if we want to continue with a very strong children population in this country, children that are up and will take up the mantle in the future, we will have to consider issues around vaccine, a very important agenda, such that year in and year out they are available. We are giving birth to our children. We want the children to go through all these vaccines and have a very strong children's population as time goes on. So I find it, and we hold the minister accountable for this. When you are in leadership, you take responsibility. You don't apportion reasons that are not tenable. So we are appealing to government to take this vaccine issue very, 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 very serious and find ways and means to get them available for, and it's always the women, you know, there is the women. Yesterday, when I was watching television, I saw a man who was with the wife, but the rest, women all over the place, in the hospitals, in the CHIPS compounds, wherever, just waiting to have a shot for their children. So, like you said, we are holding the minister to come again and tell us something good, something that will indicate that the vaccines have been distributed so that we will free ourselves from this stress, daily stress, that, oh, my child is not vaccinated. What's the next thing I'm going to suffer? And becomes a challenge for women. So women on these vaccine issues, including men, are asking the minister to act and act now. If you talk about the conflict in Ashiama, we were around in 1981-82 when our former President J.J. Rawlings came up with the coup, and there was pandemonium everywhere. I mean, soldiers took up, were on arms, caning women. I remember those days I was in Koforidua, where a certain woman was put in the middle of the road for no reason and was lashed. I mean, literally caned. I'm sure that woman did not come back to herself, even after that magnitude of abuse of that woman. We had to sleep at a certain time. There was this price control. Women's wares were being taken over. I remember those times my mother was selling all manner of things just to keep up the family because dad wasn't there. Soldiers had to come in, ransack her boots, take over her mineral bottles to be sent somewhere, her iron sheets, her... I mean, it was nightmare for us every single day. And that was where the Nigeria exodus came in. So you can imagine, well, our parents literally sold their things to take care of us in school. I remember, but we were eating cheese. Cheese. Ghanaians, we are not used to eating cheese. But we had some form of cheese coming from the Catholic Relief Service somewhere, and we had to have the cheese as something that would keep us running on those days. I remember clearly. All because Ghana was in crisis, the military had taken over, there was no law and order, and that kind of life, everyday fear. So we do not want to go back to those days. And if you look at what happened in Ashiama yesterday, the little I saw on television, it was really a nightmare. And so we plead that the police should rather take up their responsibility. Somebody was asking me where the police was, that the Ghana Armed Forces should come into the community in such a manner. I believe this is the job of the police service, and that justice will be served through the necessary investigation and bringing the perpetrators to book. So it's really unacceptable, and I add my voice to my colleagues in the studio that it is rather shameful if we are supposed to be the beacon of democracy in Africa and we abuse our citizens in such a barbaric manner. I don't think we deserve that accolade. So we are also asking serious apologies from the military high command, and if possible, be brought to book by our parliamentarians to investigate what really happened, and then the next steps follow. So if you ask my view on that, that is it. For education, it's sad. Children are all over the place, sleeping on the floor, learning. Teachers do not have the necessary resources to be able to ply their trade in terms of teaching and learning, books, and all the necessary resources. And we are talking about somewhere up north. Of course, it's not widespread in the country. But then if you do not take care of whoever is in the north in terms of what he needs to access education, then it's like we are not achieving the SDGs that we assigned our to in terms of giving an account, a better account of what we are doing within our education system. Classroom blocks are broken somewhere in Sechirafran Plains, where we listen to the news where, I mean, it's appalling. It's appalling. And I am from a rural community. I had to break through all the barriers to get to where I am. So even in those days, we were able to break through. How much more in this modern technological age, where we are touting our horns in almost everything we are doing, that we are the leaders. Yet you come and people are still lying on the floor. In one of the news, I heard Adenta Community School here in Accra where we're learning under trees. Unbelievable. There's a lot we need to do. We need to, just descend and do what is expected of us, rather than touting our own, saying things that does not exist. Our education minister should go to our aid and help in supporting teachers for teaching and learning to take place, so that tomorrow when we are not around, we have our next generation of our young people coming up, taking our roles. The least talked about the youth, the better. Because there are simply no jobs. Jobs that were promised them through campaigns finally fizzled out, and they are all over the place without jobs. So it's really, 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 really a big issue that we need to consider. We are talking about digital age, where technology is facilitating most of the things we are doing. I'll end here so that you also...
Thank you. I hear your frustration, Joyce.
Yes.
And I can also tell Nanaoye that she is... I use one word, and I write on social media a lot, and what I say is we have retrogressed.
Yes.
And everything that Joyce has recounted talks about retrogression.
Yes.
We've gone back so many years.
Yes.
I mean, and it is almost as if, and this is probably where we should say, women, please, we must step up, we must speak up. We have a few of us in Parliament, not nearly enough. And we are not here. I've said it before. I've said it to one or two of them. We are not hearing their voices. This is when they must come together and say, we are women first, before we belong to any political party, and speak together as women. The women in Parliament must actually come up and say, you know what, Health Minister, we are holding you accountable for our children's health. Yes. And if you have to resign, you have to resign, because you don't seem to have a grasp of the most basic things that are required for our children's lives. So at this point, the women must come together in Parliament. They are the leaders, they are the known leaders, and then all women's groups must come together. And actually, we may not have infants, but we must speak, those of us who have the voice, for all the women in Ghana on this issue. No, I hear Joyce, and International Child Development Program, the welfare of the child is really, really important to her, and she's speaking as such.
Yes, and Joyce has pointed out about children studying under trees at the Adenta Community School. And I live in Adenta, and I will investigate and find out exactly what is happening and then report on that. It is very regrettable. Okay. And just to say that, I mean, here again, this Brigadier General Agriquashi's statement, where he talks about, regrettably, some innocent persons might have been caught up in the operation and must have suffered some distress due to the location. He didn't even have the courtesy to apologize for what happened. Very regrettable, Brigadier General.
Well, it's probably the state of the nation that we're going to listen to. It's a part of the state of the nation that we find ourselves in. Yes. We would like to say, conclude this segment. Thank you very much, Joyce Lanyo, who joined us on Zoom, and Nanaoye. We will take a break here and make way for the sports segment and come back to continue.
Oh, that's, you know, she was our fastest 100 meters dash. She was the fastest, one of the fastest.
I'm still a sportswoman. I'm very, very. I still
Were you
played.
a sports prefect?
Yes, I was a sports prefect.
In Wesley Girls.
Yes, I was.
Bridget is an amazing sportswoman. Yeah.
Yes.
So we called her Flash. Fire.
Named after my brother, though. But yes.
Yeah. So you can still run.
I walk. I play tennis.
You play tennis, yes. You play very good lawn tennis.
I play tennis, yes.
Yes. And you work with the mentoring women.
Pardon?
Mentoring women.
Yes, mentoring women. We did a global mentoring walk, yes.
Okay.
So we will make way now for the sports segment.